Sometimes it is really hard to believe that only just a few years ago, we were literally paying over $10,000 a month, yes, a month, in rent to rent the penthouse that we were living in like 2022, 2023. And just this month, or just last month, we literally just bought our dream property. Like, we have acres with S, acres of land with our dream home. And when I tell you that we are completely different people, I'm a completely different person than what I was back then. Somebody who was even willing to pay $10,000 a month in rent. And I used to be somebody who I always said I am never, ever, ever buying a home. Like, I really drank the Kool-Aid, the Grant Cardone, the Robert Kiyosaki Kool-Aid, and I said I'm never buying a home. And this year we just bought like literally our dream property, and I'm so happy. I couldn't be happier. But when I tell you that it took so much to get to this point, and a lot of people have asked, like, well, why did you end up deciding to buy after renting for so long, after being so against buying property, because a house is not, an asset, it's a liability, and all the talk tracks that you hear from financial gurus a lot of the times. And here's just a few things I really think, at least when it comes to my family, this could be completely different for you, but just some of the perspective shifts and the mindset, the paradigm shifts that we had that really made us decide, you know what, like, it's time to buy. Okay, it's time to buy. There's a few things that I think really helped change our mind on this. Number one, is that when we sat down and actually looked at the amount of money that we were spending on rent, like for example in 2023, we spent $120,000 and paid that to somebody else so that we can live there. Now, obviously not everybody's rent is going to be $10,000. Like, that's probably one of the more extreme cases, but either way, that was our reality for a long time. So we spent $120,000 a year on this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful home. However, zero of those dollars I have anything to show for today. It's gone. Like, once it's spent, it's gone. And so once I really sat down and just thought about that, and then I would look at some other like people that I know, or even people I see online, but people that I know, people in my family, and I've thought about their situations where they have owned a home and they have a certain amount of equity, and they're able to sell their home and get some of that equity out in order to buy a new property or start a new business or do whatever. They had that opportunity. And I think an argument that I hear all the time is that, well, you're spending so much on interest. And yes, that absolutely is true, right? If you look at your amortization schedule of our mortgage right now, you'll see that right now, like our first mortgage payment, most of that is going to be interest. And a small portion of that is going to go to the principal. But guess what? When you purchase a home and you have a mortgage, that piece that does go to the principal, it will eventually add into your equity. As the value of your property starts to increase, that will account for that. And so I think about the money that we spent on rent, zero of that goes towards any equity, and 100% of that is technically like making interest payments. It's really the same thing, except now we're taking a portion of what we're paying, and a part of that is going to go towards us being able to actually build equity. And then of course, over time, real estate is always going to increase. Yes, the market goes up and down, but you cannot create more land on this earth. Like, you just can't, okay? Unless you're God, which if you're watching this, you're not. So you cannot create more land. And so over time, no matter how the market fluctuates up and down, history has shown that property values will continue to increase. So over time, we will absolutely have equity in our property, even if we don't really do anything else to it. We also decided that we wanted to just be smarter with our money. And I feel like that this was a great step to that, because now we're thinking more long term. For a long time, like we had the penthouse, we had the multiple vehicles, the luxury cars and all those things. And we were thinking very much in like the present and the now. And I feel like right now in this moment in our lives, we are really thinking about future. We're thinking about legacy. We're thinking about our kids and our family. And so being able to own land and own property and say this land that we own is a part of the legacy of our family. It's an asset that we will hold within our family, that our kids will be able to benefit from. To me, that's everything. It's more than the fancy cars, the luxury cars, the designer handbags, and the fancy luxury clothes. Like, to me, that is everything. And I feel like a part of that is really maturing and realizing that it doesn't matter what you show on social media. It doesn't matter the luxury car that you drive, the clothes that you wear. None of that matters. What matters is the legacy that you are leaving behind. And especially as parents, we had to truly just start thinking about what is the legacy that we're building. And we have to start making smarter moves with our money. We have to start investing in more. And a part of that investing plan was real estate. And I think the best segue into that was purchasing this piece of property that we did for our family. Another thing too, I think that really played a factor into us deciding to finally stop renting after all these years is that we spent a lot of time living in the city. Like, we're in the DFW area and we spent years living in the city, and we realized that our true peace and happiness is not going to be found in the city. Like, we wanted more privacy. We wanted to not necessarily be able to touch our neighbor's house like this, right? We just wanted that more peace, that serenity. Like, when I come out here, it's literally so peaceful. It's quiet. It's peaceful. Like, we can come out here and just do literally whatever we want to do. And to me, like, that was worth it. Okay. That was worth it. And again, I think just a part of that is just growing and maturing. Where, we're not necessarily listening to a bunch of financial gurus telling us what to do with our money and what to do with our lives. It's really, we have to sit down and decide, like, what is best for us right now in the season that we're in. And this was just one of those decisions. Now, because I am a realtor, I feel like we were able to get a really good deal, because we ended up taking my commission because I represented us as the realtor, and we were able to put that towards the property. And so even just coming in to purchasing, we already have equity when it comes to the money that we put in for down payment, the commission, and we did actually appraise over, I'm not gonna say by how much, but we did appraise over the actual purchase price. So we are coming in with a little bit of equity, and I think that's great. Also, we decided to buy right now because I don't know about what market you're in, but I'm in Texas, and right now it is a buyer's market, meaning there are more houses for sale than there are people actually looking to buy houses. So houses are sitting on the market much longer. So what does that mean? Supply and demand. If you've ever taken an economics class, you'll know that when supply is high and demand is low, the prices have to come down to meet that. And vice versa, if demand is high and supply is low, prices are going to increase to meet that. So because the demand is much lower than what the supply is right now in the housing market in Texas, we were able to purchase what I believe was a great deal, because we had much more leverage in our negotiation process, because a seller can't just come in and say, hey, pay my price and I'm not going to give you any type of credits or concessions or anything. You have to come with a bunch of cash to the table. No, we said, hey, this house has been sitting on the market for X amount of months. This is exactly what we want. And we got exactly that. So I think we had a great deal. I think it was just a really good time to buy. And I'll do another video when it comes to actually like preparing to buy a house. But we had decided to buy in, I think, like December 2024. We said, okay, this is what we want to do. We for sure want to start preparing to buy a house this upcoming year. Now, I didn't think it was going to happen this fast, honestly, because we ended up buying in June of 2025. But the opportunity presented itself. And I'll do another video talking about just like the preparation process. But the opportunity presented itself. And we said, you know what, let's just go ahead and pull the trigger on it. But going from spending $10,000 a month on rent to now putting money into our own property that we own. Again, I think that was just a huge mindset shift. I'm honestly really proud of us for doing that. But at least, especially for me, like, I'm just in this like legacy building, future building mindset right now, where I want to make my money work for me. I want to leverage our money. I want to build up our net worth. And so this was just one move towards that goal. So if you are someone who is, thinking about buying, thinking about purchasing, like, hopefully this is helpful. I've learned a lot throughout this process. Over these last few years, I've learned a lot. Like, I feel like, from living average life with an average income to being at the, top, to losing it all and to now gaining it back. Like, I've learned so much throughout these last few years. So if you want to like hear certain things or learn about my perspective on certain things, like, feel free to put them down in the comment section. I'm really going to be focusing on growing this channel again, and just pouring out all the knowledge and the value that I have to give, because I truly just want to help you all. Like I said, I've been through a lot. I've gained a lot. I've lost a lot. I've gained a lot again. And I just want to do what I can to help you, and to give you the knowledge and the information that I wish I would have had throughout this journey and process. So, leave your comments, things that you want to hear about, things that I should talk about. Like, feel free to do that. But I really appreciate you all for tuning in. And I just wanted to come in here and just kind of talk about the mindset shift, the paradigm shift that kind of happened from being serial renters to, being someone who was against buying a home to now deciding to buy a home. And I'm truly so happy with our decision here. But I appreciate you all for tuning in. I'll catch you on the next one.